Welcome to the final installment of the How to Teach a Beginner Workshop or a Beginner Series for new yogis. I hope this has been helpful. So the first video I talked about what you should do and making people feel welcome in your yoga practice. The second video we added on a little bit. So you always recap the basics, maybe do introductions, quick like again, and then you have time for a few more poses, a few more conversations and discussions and answering questions. So moving forward, you just continue adding on, meaning add another wave to the element. So add an intensification or a new concept, but we do so slowly. If you gave everybody everything all at once, it's just too overwhelming. Yoga is such a big thing. And although we want everybody to know the ins and outs of yoga and how yoga is so much more than just the poses and stretching, we've got to meet people where they're at. So meet them at the place that they are asking for. If someone is saying, I just don't move my body enough, I am looking to lose weight, you say, great, this can be for you. If someone's saying they need a little bit more of like a spiritual path and they just want to feel more calm, great, this is for you too. And it can be for everybody, if you make it, if you want it. But each element is going to be specific to each person. So someone might ask a question specifically regarding breath. Some people want more of the poses. That's okay. Just meet them where they're at, tell them the basics and how to use it, right? And we also want to empower people to go off and do their own practice, their own home practice at home with videos or on their own, or just give them a few poses to do on their own. That's one of the most powerful things we can do as yoga teachers, is to help guide people into their own strength. What we don't want is our students to have to depend on us, to be the person always having to be in front of them to guide them into their yoga practice and help them through the process. Yes, we can support, but there's a difference between being supportive and being helpful, or assisting and supporting. So if you're assisting, you're holding someone's hand or doing it for them, whereas when you're supporting, you're gently encouraging them to try it themselves or to go down this path and see what it brings them. Rather than knowing all the answers, you ask questions. So that's for you. As a teacher, the best way that you can show up as a teacher is to ask questions, and ask the right questions, open-ended questions, and questions to your students of, how does this feel here? And what is that like for you? Or tell me more. So these open-ended offerings to be someone, to become just a guide for those in front of you. So you don't have all the answers. And even though you're a new yoga teacher, or if you've been practicing and teaching for years, you're still just a guide, and that's a good thing. A guide is someone that shows them the way to becoming, their best selves. So shows them the way, or says, here's a door that you can open, see what's inside. And that's all you're doing. And so each continuous practice in this beginner series, or any series of classes, is your way of giving someone a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. So you can teach on any topic. If you have a passion for the chakras, then you teach on the chakras. Mention that, and maybe it's that third or fourth class, or maybe it's something down the line. The very first class, though, should definitely be very basic, with not a lot of the yoga philosophy involved in it. That can get overwhelming, and a lot of people are honestly just coming to learn about poses. That's the main thing I've got from teaching beginner yoga. My longer workshops that are 2 or 3 hours, most of them really just want to learn better alignment, safety for their bodies, and how to show up in a yoga practice and in the best way. So it's less about wanting to learn about the all the Vedas and the gunas and the whatever else. Like, that can be reserved for teacher training, or if someone's interested in researching or reading the Bhagavad Gita, they can. Reading a book is a lot easier to do on your own than attending a yoga class. A yoga class, you're there for the experience. You're there for the atmosphere, and you're there to get feedback from the teacher. So they're looking oftentimes for you as the guide to help them through the process. Yes, book recommendations are great. They are, really are. So if someone does ask, then you give that to them. But wait for them to ask for that. So give people what they're searching for. And you might ask them right away too, what are you looking for today? What is your hope for today? What are you hoping to leave with? And also at the end of your series, so once you've done day 3, day 4, however long it is, I don't recommend anything over like 8 weeks, like 4 to 6 weeks for a beginner series. At the end, you want to ask for feedback. And I think I did mention this in the first video, where you can send out a survey online. You can hand out pieces of paper, and the survey should say something like, name, email, what was your biggest takeaway, what would you like to see different, just any questions that are going to help you as the teacher, the facilitator, to make it a better experience the next time you run it. Or just to learn about what you could do for a different program that you're going to run. So changing it up. When I did a 3-hour beginner workshop with 15 people, what I found was most people would have preferred to do maybe a series of classes. So it was a 4-week series. So you could break it up a little bit more, because 3 hours was very overwhelming. Try to hit all of this in 3 hours without practice time and time to absorb in between. It's quite challenging. If I were to teach another beginner class in 3 hours, we would definitely have plenty of breaks. And we would go through maybe like these first 3 or 4 lessons, and I give a lot of recommendations and guidelines for people to move forward. Your finale is also the place where you can help people to move forward into specific classes. So you say, oh, well, I've seen your practice, I've seen how you are and how you show up, and I really think you would be best suited for, the Tuesday, Thursday, 5:30 p.m. class here at the studio or on my website or whatever it is. And based on your goals of wanting to relax after a long day, I think that 7 p.m. restorative class would be amazing for you, and I can't wait to see you there. So that kind of thing. So you're telling people how to move forward. If you are at a yoga studio and you are teaching a beginner class for the studio, then you definitely want to be recommending studio programs, studio classes, rather than directing people elsewhere to another teacher. You might also recommend some videos that you've created online, or YouTube videos maybe that you've found great benefit from, or I don't know if people still do DVDs. That's how I started. I started with a DVD program. Now you can't get the DVD program anymore, so I can't recommend it. But any kinds of videos or practices, this is your time to focus back on the student and how they're going to move forward with their yoga practice. Now knowing what they know and being more comfortable in a studio space or taking yoga with a teacher, answer any questions they might have about moving forward. And that's it. And also, a last tip I have for you for teaching yoga to beginners is to thank them in a special way. So if someone takes a workshop with you, let's say it's a little bit higher priced, and it doesn't have to be too high priced, but it's more than just maybe a single class, or it is their very first class only, make sure to thank them with a personal email, message, or maybe it's a thank you card, like handwritten thank you card, or also a little gift. I make yoga mat keychains, so a lot of times after my workshops, I'll place them in front of people's mats to give them a yoga mat keychain as just a sort of parting gift to say thank you for joining. Remember to take yoga with you as a reminder everywhere you go. Right? So something like that. It doesn't have to cost you a lot of money. It's just something that makes you go a little bit above and beyond most others in this fast-paced world. So if you can slow down and personally connect and offer someone gifts that they're able to receive and take in, you will stand far above the rest, and also creates a closer connection. So that's that. When you're finishing up, just keep adding on, ask for feedback, give a thank you gift, and that's it. And make sure that you have a lot of fun with this. Smiling goes a long way to being welcoming, and enjoy the process. It's a long process, but it's well worth it. So keep going on this journey and keep teaching beginners yoga. Always yourself coming back to the basics so that you can teach it, be it, practice it, and be the best you can be too. So thank you so much for joining. That was our third part in this series of how to teach a beginner yoga series to new yogis.